The Lamp Center was started 28 years ago above the pawn shop down on Fairfax Boulevard, 19 steps above it there. We were there for about a decade or so. Moved to a storefront over on Old Lee Highway, about 3,300 square feet, totally inadequate, and not loved by the city, and we're there for about another 12 years. Several times they tried to get rid of us. They sued us. We had to defend ourselves in the Supreme Court in Virginia, which overturned the decision in our favor. We were blessed to find a new building or build a new building. We moved in there about 4.5 years ago, much better facility, much more services. But when they started the place 28 years ago, they started with a hot plate and a box of donuts and a coffee pot. They weren't sure what services they were going to add or bring on to it. But the one thing they were sure is that they were going to bring the people that came through our doors, they were going to tell them about Jesus. And what they quickly found is that the folks that come through our doors teach us about Jesus. There's an expression that we have that everybody comes to the Lamp Center for a reason. My prior job before I came to Lamp Center was as a distributor for the Washington Post. I'm sure you can tell how that eminently qualified me to run a nonprofit and do fundraising. Didn't have a clue. Still learning after 10 years how to do that. But what I have learned is it's true that everybody comes to the place for a reason. And when I say that by everybody, I mean our guests that are experiencing homelessness that we serve, our staff, our volunteers, and our board. Everybody comes there for a reason. Probably the most qualified person on staff is Patty Brown, the assistant director, and she was a kindergarten teacher. So, there's all reasons that we come there. So during the pandemic, we're a daytime drop-in center. We learned early on that we were going to have to figure out on our own how to change our operation during the pandemic. We provide a place, typically we serve about 110 people on average every day, but over the course of a month, we'll see 350 unique individuals, and in the course of a year, it's over 1,500. So not everybody comes in every day. And we have a place that you can get mail and messages. There's limited storage for 48 people, and there's a waiting list for that. We use it as an accountability tool. We have 5 showers. We get about 50 or so people a day normally taking showers there. There's a kitchen where we serve breakfast and lunch, pretty much all prepared outside. We don't do a lot of cooking at the Lamp Center. There's no stovetop there. A laundry where we do about 45, 50 loads of kitchen-sized trash bag of laundry you can get done every day. And there's a Bible study normally twice a day. We have a clothing closet. We have a nurse practitioner from the health department that comes in twice a week. We have a psychiatric nurse practitioner from the CSB that comes in. She's mostly just for the staff. They're not funny if you have to explain them, folks. And we have a dental clinic, which is somewhat suspended operations during the pandemic. We have a partnership with Nova, Northern Virginia Community College, where they bring their second-year students in to do hygiene. They do cleanings, exams, and x-rays. And we have at least one pro bono dentist, Dr. Greca, who comes in a couple times a month on a Saturday and does restorative work. He's still been coming in, but we haven't had, Nova hasn't been meeting, so that hasn't happened. And the clothing closet has basically been suspended for the same reasons that we early on, and the case management, which is the primary thing, we meet the physical needs of our guests first and then try and meet them where they are and help them as they are able. Refer them to mental health, addictions, counseling, housing, employment. We have 2 employment jobs programs right now, one with the city, one with the county. We call City Jobs. It's a phenomenal program, something I've always wanted to do, and we finally got a board member to convince the city to try it, the city of Fairfax to try a pilot with it, where we send 10 guys out for 4 hours a day and pay them $10 cash, and basically they pick up trash in the city or repair trails. With the county, they're doing some of it is pulling trash out of the streams. They work with the storm management there. It's it's everybody always. I mean, I make a big deal about it. It's for money at the end of the day, and we pay them cash, and they always take the money, but it's not the money that's important. It just changes their attitude. We're wired for work, and these guys feel better from doing it. And there was one woman in particular who was so, don't know, she never would look me in the eye. She was always down like this and kind of a slight woman. And she'd say, she'd come in, any jobs? And I don't think anybody would have hired this woman to hold up a marketing sign. But she did the city jobs for a while, and she would suddenly look you in the eye and would even make a little joke about it. It just transformed her. Many of the guys have moved on to full-time employment. They've gotten the confidence to say, hey, I can do this, you know. And one of the beauties about this job is that we have 10 slots, and if the same 10 people don't show up, we've got a couple of subs that we can send out. So we always do this. The thing was based on a program out of Albuquerque called It's a Better Way. There they pick up panhandlers and take them up and pay them for the same thing. There they started with picking up trash, removing graffiti, and picking up tumbleweeds. We have immediately solved the tumbleweed problem here in Fairfax. I don't think you see any there. So anyway, to accommodate things in the pandemic, and mainly for social distancing, we had to limit ourselves to letting 5 people in at a time. So instead of having a great room, which is probably not too different than the size of the sanctuary here, the whole center is 10,000 square feet on 2 stories, but the main room where most of the activities take place would normally have 40 or 50 people in it at a time. And that just wasn't working. So we decided that we would let 5 people in at a time, which is the number of showers that we have, and that seemed to work. And we gave them 30 minutes to take a shower, drop off their laundry, see a case manager, grab some food, either to eat there or to go. And that seems to have worked pretty well. One of the things when this first started was the governor said, you should stay home, isolate at home. Well, how do you isolate at home if you don't have a home? Through the CARES Act, they did get a fair amount of money, and we were able to put over 100 of our guests into motels. Most of them are still there, starting with the elderly and those with other pre-existing conditions. And 1 or 2 people a week probably still continue to go in there, either for whatever reason that somebody left. So, I told you earlier, we see about 110 on average. We were seeing 110 people a day. You'd think our numbers would be down to nothing. But what we found is that there's a lot more new people coming to us. And they're much more time consuming because they just have great needs. Usually these people are new to homelessness. I sometimes say it myself, I don't like the expression that the homeless person or that homeless person. What we prefer to say is that's the person experiencing homelessness. Homelessness is not who you are, it's a situation that you're in. So we're looking forward to returning to a new normal when that happens, hopefully sometime in the next 6 months, but we'll see where that is. And our next big thing is to find housing. We've been working on several different avenues to find a location to build some permanent supportive housing, some kind of small dormitory style units to house maybe 60 or 80 of the folks that we see every day that kind of fall through the cracks and can't get a housing voucher because they're not homeless enough, or they don't want to sign a piece of paper that says that they're mentally ill. This says I'm crazy. I'm not signing that. Well, anybody here sitting in sanctuary or watching at home could spend 5 minutes with them and know that they were mentally. You may not be qualified to diagnose what they are, but shut up, what are you talking about? Okay, well, you're talking to somebody who's not there. I don't need a degree in psychiatry to tell you that there's something, wrong here. But you can't force that person to do that. So we have that kind of issue that we're facing. So we'd like to try and bypass some of the HUD things and fund some housing that we would subsidize to get people with a roof over their heads. Nobody should be homeless. Jesus said years ago that the poor you will always have, but he didn't say you would always have to have people that were homeless. So